Hi guys, this is Jack with Team Empire, and today we're finally back with First Thoughts. I don't know if any of y'all really missed First Thoughts, but they took a long hiatus, mostly because I was doing deck tests, and I was busy with work. Other members of the team were also busy, so we couldn't do that giant, set 12 final discussion that I planned to do. I might do some more of those later, or try to do some more of those later, but we're back. We're gonna do a little bit differently, where you actually see me here, and we should talk about the new cards right here, and I'll just edit the cards there and post later. But as you can see from the backdrop, we are talking about a new Keter Sanctuary ride line, along with the new Griffer Gilla support, which I'm super excited for. That stuff looks great. But first we gotta talk about the new ride line, which is the Alden ride line. This is pretty unexpected when we saw the episode that Alden got the Blaster Blade treatment, and now has united the higher class and the lower class. Now he's his own Vanguard, which is really cool. But let's go over those support cards right now. First one we have is Knight of the Heavenly Admired Admis, who is the grade 0. Same effect as all the other grade 0s, just when we're opponent went second, draw a card. You can play anything here since the other ride line cards do not care about having him. So play your Thagreas all you want. Now we have Knight of Heavenly Lasting Tranquilia, who has the effect when this unit is rode upon, reveal 3 cards with different grades from your hand, and look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to one grade 1 or less card from among them, call it to Vanguard circle, and shuffle the deck. If you did not call one, you can call this unit. So this is a really good ride line, and one thing you will notice about Alden's ride line is that they're actually generic. You can play this in any Keter Sanctuary deck, and for that condition actually isn't that hard to fulfill. 3 different grades, and it doesn't say normal units either, so you can reveal triggers off of this. And then just call from top 5 and call 1. I think a deck that could really benefit from this besides Alden is probably either Thagrea or Youthberg. Youthberg does play quite a few grade 1s. Their Sequanas, and then their Waywards you can call early and have a 10k attacker or 10k booster on grade 2. Plus, you don't have to waste the soul for it either, because sometimes Youthberg needs to have early soul. So I think this is a really nice ride line card for basically Keter in general, not just Alden. Speaking of that, we have the next card, which is Clear Sky Knight Sodius, who has the effect when this unit is rode upon, reveal 3 cards with different grades from your hand. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose to one grade 2 or less, call it to Vanguard circle. And if you did not, you can call this card to Vanguard circle. And once again, just as good as Tranquilia, if not better, since majority, I'd say good 99% of all Keter decks do play grade 2s and play quite a few grade 2s. So being able to call grade 2s or 1s off this effect is really amazing. Just a really nice effect overall. I would honestly say you could play this in any Keter deck and still be happy. Even Bastion Accord, because Bastion Accord does play more grade 2s now than their average Bastion deck, or at least some of them can. So having a ride line like this can be really beneficial. And obviously for Alden it's really good too, being able to call something like their rear guard, which we'll talk about in a second, Ermac, to have a huge attacker, or call Drilling Angel, which can call more stuff. Yeah, just a really solid ride line. I'm really impressed. Then we have Sword that connects heaven and earth, Alden, who has the effect act Vanguard circle once per turn, cost counterblast 1, soul blast 1, choose a grade 3 or less card from your hand, call it to Vanguard circle, and if you called a card, you draw 2 cards, which is really good. And its second effect is auto Vanguard circle. When this unit attacks, if you have 3 or more rear guards with different grades, cost soul blast 1, choose one of your rear guards and return it to the hand. Then choose up to 2 cards from your hand with the total sum of their grades being equal to or less than the card you return to the hand by this effect, and call it to Vanguard circle in the same column. So this is obviously a pretty good Vanguard. That first effect is just Alden, but an act skill that you can use every turn, which is really great, just turning any call from your hand to a +1. Just super nice effect, and it's 1 less CB as well. The reason why this is grade 3 or less, so you can't call Bastion Prime and then get your over trigger and then have it steamroll your opponent. That's the reason why. But the second effect's also pretty nice too, because you don't have to call 2 like a grade 2 and a grade 1. You can do that, but I feel like what most people are going to do is just bounce a grade 3 to call a grade 3. And off of this effect, there is a way actually to get 5 attacks. If you return a grade 3 to your hand and call Alden, Alden can then use his effect to counterblast 2, soul blast 1, call the grade 3 you bounce, and then draw 2 more cards and have 2 more attacks. So I feel like if you chain Aldens, that effect can be really powerful. Other than that, it's just a decent 4 attack deck. But yeah, Alden seems pretty great. Let's move on. Also, this one thing about this deck you'll see is that it's very versatile. It is once again like a deck that takes advantage of Keter being like really generic nation now, which is nice because back when Standard first started, it was not a very generic nation because it was just like Bastion the deck. Next up, we have a rare, which is Sage of Civilization Firon, who has the effect, when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, this unit gets plus 2k until end of turn. Then, if you have a unit with Alden in its card name, discard a card from your hand and countercharge 1. So, that first effect's pretty nice. You can just like plop it down and it's immediately a 10k early, which is kind of nice. Also, being able to call this card off behind Alden. Alden has a card that gives it plus 10k power. So with this boost, Alden can be a 33 to 43k attacker, which is really nice. The discard for a counter charge does seem really heavy, especially like if you take Gandiva. They have their counter charger, which is not only free, doesn't require anything, but also gives plus 2k to your front row basically. But it's okay, it's fine, it's whatever. But the discard I think is there more for a beneficial reason. This deck actually doesn't need to CC that much unless you want to, I should say. Then you can use this effect and like play Wayward, and if you discard Wayward off this effect, you can then call Wayward for like another booster or just having more rear guards on board. But yeah, overall pretty nice card that you probably want to play just to like have it for options. Next up, we have another rare, which is Sharpness Knight Ermac. Ermac. Auto. When this is placed on Vanguard Circle, if you have a unit with Alden in its card name, this unit gets plus 5k until end of turn, and if it was placed by your card's ability, it gets 15k instead of 5k. One thing that's nice about this effect is that it doesn't care if it's called by Alden's effect, it just cares if it's called in general. So you can play cards like Kyber to call this from deck, you can play cards like Drilling Angel to not only plus you a soul, since this deck does seem more soul heavy than it is CB heavy, and like get 15k power before you even swing with it first, and you can like bounce it back to hand and call it off Alden to have another 25 to 35k attacker. But yeah, and also it's completely free, so really good effect. Next up, we have a double rare now. We have Clear Skies Dragon, Light Leads Dragon, which has an effect continuous Vanguard Circle. If you have a unit with Alden in its card name, this unit gets boost. Then, auto Vanguard Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked or boosted, put another rear guard in the same column as this unit into your soul to choose one of your units with Alden in its card name, and that unit gets plus 10k power. This was the unit that I was referring to, and this is obviously a really good card. Like, being able to turn a grade 3 into a booster is very nice. Being able to, say, turn Ermac, if he's 25 and boost with this, it'll be a 38k attacker on the first swing, which is really good. And also being able to put a rear guard into soul is very important, since this deck does use a lot of soul. It uses 2 soul every single turn, and if you choose to put cards like Kyber or Painkiller, which I think Painkiller is a really great choice, you're going to use even more. So you need as many cards as possible that like give you that soul back. And also powering up your Vanguard is very nice, since for these multi-attacking decks, a lot of time the Vanguard itself isn't that strong or doesn't hit over defensives, but now with this effect it actually does. On top of that, I don't know if anyone else has noticed. I mean, I didn't notice until Steve pointed it out to me in our team Discord, that all of the effects with Alden support says if you have a unit with Alden and not if you have a Vanguard with Alden. So if you wanted to, you could play these cards in like any deck that happens to use the Alden rear guard. Do I think that's the best? Probably not, but it's interesting at least, and it leads a lot of like creativity in deck building. So I'm excited to see what people come up with Alden. But now let's move on to the Dragontree support. Still going to be in Keter for a little bit, since these are Dragontree support cards. The first one we have is a double rare, Dragontree Wretch, Gaia Daishak. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. It's like some German name. And it says auto when placed in rearguard circle, counter blast 1, soul blast 1. Place a Dragontree marker on one of your rearguard circles that doesn't have one, and then search your deck for a Mask of Hydrogrum, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So obviously this is the Mask Searcher for Keter. It doesn't mean that Keter is going to get a Mask unit in the set, but it's to use for Griffergilla, because one of his effects does require you to have more Hydrogrums. So I assume Dragon Empire will also get one, so we will have 2 wretches for each of the 5 great nations, which is great. Next up we have Inhumane Dragon, which is a common, very similar to the Brancade common we got for card of the day. It says it's a 15k grade 3. It says it cannot be ridden, and it cannot be normal called to rearguard circles without any Dragontree markers. It says during your turn, this unit gets plus 2k for each Dragontree marker on rearguard circle, then has the other effect during your turn, this unit gets plus 2k for each of your rearguards. So unlike the Brancade one, which does get plus 2 for every for each set order, I think this one's a little better because it's a little easier to control getting that plus 2k. If you just have a full board, he'll get plus 10. And if you have 5 Dragontree markers, he'll get another 10. And if you have a Dragontree marker under him, obviously, he'll be at plus 25, putting him at 40. Which that's a lot to get right. But I wouldn't play it in Griffergilla. You don't get any Dragontree markers from it. It's a grade 3 and you're already going to be playing like your grade 10, and spoiler alert, your grade 11, so you're not going to have a lot of shield anyways, and I don't think you would really want to put this card in there to not fix the problem. But it's a neat card at least. I mean, at least it's 2k conditions a little easier fulfilled than the Brancade one. Next up we have the 16th triple rare in the set, and a card that I am so excited for. It is Supreme Dragontree of Annihilation, Griffergilla Vartex, who says auto when placed from riding, put a Griffer Estoroki token into your order zone, which we'll talk about that in a second. Then continuous Vanguard Circle. During your turn, this unit gets plus 10k power, plus 1 crit. Then continuous Vanguard Circle. If the total number of Hydrogrum and Dragontree markers on your Vanguard Circle is 10 or more, this unit gets plus 10k power, and that is active on the opponent's turn as well. Then auto Vanguard Circle once per turn. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose a face-up Calamity card from your ride deck and remove it. If you did not remove a card, choose a trigger from your ride deck, reveal it and activate all of its trigger effects and additional effects, remove it, and stand all your rearguards on Dragontree markers. So before we even talk about Griffergilla of Vartex, we need to talk about Grifo Estoroki, which is the set order that the token that it puts in the order zone, because it's kind of like they wanted to put more effects on Griffergilla, but they just didn't have enough space, so they just put it on an order, which is really funny. So this is a grade 11 token set order that says auto order zone at the beginning of your main phase, you may activate this effect. Search your deck for up to 1 trigger unit, put it face up into your ride deck, and then shuffle your deck. If you put a card, choose a Hydrogrum from your drop, and you may call it to rearguard circle. Then auto orders or act order zone, once per turn, cost, discard a card with Griffergilla and its card name from your hand to draw a card. Choose one of your rearguards and put a Dragontree marker on it. Then cost, put the top card of your deck into your damage zone face down. Choose a face-up Calamity card from your ride deck and remove it. So these 2 cards fix almost every problem with Griffergilla. Griffergilla Vartex is an 18k base that could potentially, and pretty easily if you use cards like the Blitz Order early, can be a 28k Vanguard on the opponent's turn, which is very hard for a lot of decks, even the meta decks, to get past easily. And also, it just gets 10k power and plus 1 crit easily. It also, the Griffer Estoroki is really good for being able to help revive those Dragontree wretches and keep getting your markers and keep having more names on board so you can keep that 10k. And obviously, the additional effect is the removal effect of your Calamity card is just incredible. That's really all I wanted from the new Griffergilla support, but they fixed almost every problem. Griffergilla now becomes like a massive tank. And also it solves a problem that I didn't even think was really that much of a problem in Griffergilla, because Vartex just removes any trigger and Estoroki puts a trigger from your deck into your ride deck. After your over trigger turn, you could just use Estoroki to put like a heal trigger or a crit trigger into your ride deck, then use Vartex to reveal those and either keep the game going if it's a heal trigger case, or try to close out the game if it's a critical trigger case. So yeah, I just think this solves every problem with Griffagilla, and I know a lot of people on my team are actually super excited to build it now. I mean, I built it, but that was just because I really enjoyed the deck, and now I enjoy the deck even more. But with that being said, guys, that's it for this first thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me. So sorry the first thoughts have been dead. I already kind of explained it in the beginning, but I just wanted to apologize again. They might be on or off, depends on how much the reveals excite me or my teammates. These reveals were super exciting, I didn't want to miss out on them. But let me know what y'all think about the Alden ride line and the new Griffagilla and its support. And with that being said, have a nice day, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.